It is summertime, and even here on the coast of California, it's hot. And one of the things you don't want to do, thing I learned in Arizona, is start a hot oven. So what's a good meal that you can do without turning on that beast of an oven? And the answer came from a good friend of mine, John LaPuma, and I'm using his recipe, which is a guacamole recipe that is luscious and rich. And I'm going to go through that with you right now because this is Sunday Science. My name, by the way, is Terry Simpson. You can find me on terrysimpson.com or drsimpson.com. You'll find the recipes there, and you'll find information. You can sign up for our newsletter there also. This is a really simple recipe. And when you look, we seem to be having an earthquake here because the camera keeps going back and forth. And when you look at the recipe, you'll say, why did I spend all that money for guacamole when in fact I could have just made it myself? Not only made it, but made it better yourself. So I'm going to show you a few additions and why it's good and healthy for you. We're going to start with an avocado because that's where we start. Avocados are tricky because of that thing. There have been lots and lots of people who have tried to be chefs and take that out by using a knife. Don't do that. If you have an avocado pit, first you slice along the avocado like this. Twist, open it up. One side will be fine. The other side will have this. Don't use a knife to get it out. It'll come out with a spoon. That's all you need. Okay? The avocado is easy. There are parts of that avocado which is oxidized. We don't want that. We'll just get rid of it. Same here. You don't want that part. When avocado oxidizes, I mean the oxygen gets to it and gets kind of brown. Avocado is rich in antioxidants, it's rich in fiber, it's rich in a monounsaturated fat, and that's the kind of fat that is healthy for you. Fat is kind of like everything else. Too much isn't good for you. It coats the arteries, gives you atherosclerosis, goes in your belly, maybe my belly. But fat is not something that you want. But if you're going to have fat, you want to have good fat, and avocado is good fat. Here's another one. This one, when I opened the avocado, just kind of came out that way. So we're just going to sort of go in, take all that luscious good stuff out. There's the pit. And you see, these avocados, you know how much they cost? $1 for 2 of them. You know how much the guacamole cost that I bought the other day? You don't want to know. All right. This is avocado. There are a few other things that make avocado great, but in this case, it's garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas. I like these because this is what we call a legume, and I love legumes. You probably heard me and Dr. Billy going back and forth. He loves vegetables. I love legumes. Why do I like legumes? A couple of reasons. Number one, they are high in protein, the essential proteins that we need for our body to build our muscles, to build our tissues, to heal from surgery. Very important. They are high in fiber. Fiber is good. They are low in saturated fat, which is good. So these are a great source of protein. Get them in a can, throw them in a strainer, and rinse them out. They're right there. Okay? So these things, this is pretty easy. We're just going to use this little chef's knife. Avocado just sort of comes out easy. We're going to put it in our mixing bowl right here. Remember, always wash your hands. It's not only COVID we're worried about. There are about 70,000 people a year who die, or excuse me, are hospitalized. A number of those die from food poisoning every year. A lot of that happens because people aren't washing their hands. These are just, you just mush these. You can cut them. You can mush them with your knife. What some people will do is they will take all of these things and they will put them in a food processor. You can do that. You know what? It's a lot easier for me to clean a cutting board than to take out the food processor and do all of that. So this is pretty easy. One of the keys to this are the flavors you put in it. Avocado has its own flavor. It's kind of fatty. Fatty is one of the flavors that you recognize on your tongue. And a lot of people make guacamole better, they think, by adding salt to it. And there are very few medications for people to have extra salt on anything. You know what makes better flavor for avocado? There are a lot better things than that. One is garlic, and we're going to do that. Garlic, as you know, is also another great ancient thing. You have to be able to do this. You have to have strength. That's it. Get a couple of cloves of garlic out. Mash the garlic with the back of your knife. Try not to lose a finger. The nice thing is the leaves, when you mash it like that, just come out so easily. And then, when you cut like this, not like this, okay? If you want to make a paste out of it, it's pretty easy. You just keep smashing and cutting, smashing and cutting. Smash, smash. There you have some nice garlic. That's going to go in there. The other thing that our flavors are this. Pepper is a great flavor for avocado. Add a little bit of pepper. In addition, you can use these. I already pre-cut up some of these. I don't have my gloves on because my son seems to like them for balloons, but we put one of those in there. And then curry powder. Why curry powder? It contains a magical ingredient called turmeric, which we love. It's anti-inflammatory. So because I like it so much, I'll just put it in directly. Just a few little shakes. Just makes it that much more delicious. But what always makes things good is what we call the flavor starter, which in this case is the lime. And we're going to use, this is called a zester. You can either use a peeler and do it, and then we want some lime juice. So of course, you can squeeze them out or you can buy a fancy juicer. When we moved, my wife said, you can't buy anything, you can't buy any furniture, you can buy anything for the kitchen you want. So anytime there's a kitchen tool out there, you get to buy it. But as you can see from this is just kind of old school. And all we're doing is we're just mashing up all the avocado. And those garbanzo beans. Don't be afraid to get in there. It's got the garlic, it's got the turmeric, it's got a little bit of curry, it's got the lemon zest, it's got the lemon juice. You know what it's missing? Olive oil. Why olive oil? Because olive oil is another source of monounsaturated fat. But like we like to say, not just any olive oil. This is a California cold press olive oil. This came from one of our surgical residents whose dad has olive trees. No, you can't get it in stores unless they decide to make it. But olive oil is just magical. And I learned something from my good friend Dr. LaPuma that I didn't realize. Greek pharmacists used to keep first press, cold press olive oil behind their counter for people who were having problems with vascular, heart disease, and stuff like that. We have seen with many of the Mediterranean diets that olive oil is one of the things that is prescribed for. Okay, so that's that. It's missing something. You know what it's missing? Tomato. Let me grab a tomato cutter. When you cut a tomato, you can use a chef's knife. This knife is better. It's serrated. It cuts it beautifully. Now you've got some color in there. If you like cilantro, you can throw it on top. If you don't like cilantro, you can use parsley to make it look good. That's it. Oh my God. Thank you, Dr. John LaPuma, for the recipe. I'm going to give our camera person a little bit of this. Camera person.
Mmm. Excellent.
So that's it. So why I'm going through making this on a day when we have a lot of science and we have a lot of stuff. Doctors are often accused of being pill pushers. We are often accused of doing things that only enrich ourselves because we're pushing pills or because we're pushing surgery. And clearly, if you have morbid obesity, surgery is needed. But we don't want to think of your diet after surgery or before surgery for weight loss. We want to think of your diet for health. That's why I got trained in culinary medicine. Because this is something that I can teach you to empower yourself. This is sustainable. If I prescribe you a medicine, that's not sustainable. You may take it, it may get too expensive, you may run out of it, but food is something that you can do, and you eat several times a day. And if you eat for health, we have proven with really good science, not the little textbooks that are out, not the textbooks, not the books that are in the bookstore, or Happy Keto or Happy Vegan or whatever, real science, that a diet that is rich in everything that is in here, low in saturated fat, high in monounsaturated fat, there's fruits, there's vegetables, there's turmeric, it's anti-inflammatory, it's healthy, it has protein, it has fiber, it is delicious. That can be a meal all unto itself. That's why we like teaching you a little bit of cooking, because in an era where there's this virus we can't see that affects everything we do, every part of our life, the one thing you can do, the one thing you have time for, is to make some of Dr. LaPuma's luscious garbanzo bean guacamole. And Dr. LaPuma, by the way, is the inventor of culinary medicine. He's the one that founded that movement. We owe a great debt to him for that. And I'm just down the street from him, so I'm going to probably take some over and munch on it with him. Until next week with Sunday Science, I hope you enjoyed it. Try some guacamole today. Go light on the peppers if you don't like your mouth on fire. I kind of like a little bit of bite. The great thing about a little bit of bite is you're not going to overdo it. And now we'll see if my son wants a little bit of it. We'll see if JJ. Come here.
You can be in it.
You want to try? Oh, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. How do you like it?
I already came up and tasted it.
He's
When you guys weren't looking.
all right. Thanks for this week on Sunday Science. As always, you can find me on terrysimpson.com, where you can learn about our recipes, and you can see what we do with weight loss, or drsimpson.com. Thank you. Have a good week.